So, we see all these, different, things in the media where they're talking about these rise in hate crimes, on Asians and stop Asian hate and all of that. But they don't talk about the constant hate crimes that's happening against black people. Oh no, that's just normal. That's supposed to happen to y'all. That's why we don't talk about it. You guys getting killed by a race soldier. That's we'll talk about it, but we talk about it in the guise of trying to get ratings. We get money off your death, and then we want to get other finances. With Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation. That's why we talk about your deaths. Not that we care about it. We just know we can make a lot of money off of you. When that happens. But you have, the school district, and I want you to hear, when you're going to have some white supremacist students, it's going to sit up here, have a slave auction that they're participating in, with black students. Let's go ahead and roll that clip.
It's possible, and how am I still surprised?
But seeing it goes deeper.
Calling it the N-word slave trade/auction.
Students at Daniel Ninth Grade Academy in Aledo putting prices on children of color and trading them online.
It makes me sick from the standpoint that I ask myself, who do they think they are, right? What gives them the right to feel that they can do that to someone else?
One student worth $100, another just $1 because they didn't like his hair.
And now, of course, I was not shocked, honestly, because of the community that we live in. And
it hurt one student enough to tell school leaders and even post about it online. District leaders sent a note home to tell parents the students were disciplined, but some were even angrier with how the note was written.
Calling it cyberbullying, bullying versus racism, they're condoning the behavior, and that is the piece that really gets under my skin.
It softens the blow for those that may be uncomfortable with the conversation of racism. And we need to stop doing that.
Online, someone told the school board member Forrest Collins it was a hate crime, not boys being boys. He wrote he agreed 100%. Superintendent Susan Bone issued a news statement just hours ago saying racism and hatred did not have a place in the district. They're taking action and making sure students feel loved.
I'm still a bit disappointed with the email because I do think it still stops short of calling it hate speech.
But Mark Grubbs told us the problems are bigger than this one instance. He pulled his 3 kids from Aledo ISD.
A lot of racism being called out of his name, et cetera, and it got to the point where he didn't mind fighting. And that just didn't sit right with me and my wife.
So you heard the school district called it cyber bullying and harassment, not white supremacy, not hate crime, which it is. Now, we're being told that if a black person even shuns an Asian person, like saying, I don't really want to be around an Asian person, that's a hate crime. These white supremacists sit up here not only shunning, using the N-word, sitting up here having slave auction sales online, talking about selling black students, and that's called cyberbullying, and that's called harassment. So cyberbullying and harassment for you, but when it comes to everybody else, it's a hate crime. Matter of fact, even if you don't intervene when a crime is happening, like in New York, to an Asian person, you're going to be shamed, and basically, you're supposed to jump in and save everybody, okay? But nobody could come save you. And nobody's shamed why you're not being saved. You understand? See, the reason why they do this is because you have a whole society that lets them know from the moment they get into this world that your life has no value, that this society look at you as the enemy, public enemy number one. They teach not you and also everyone else around the world that to hate you is okay to hate you, it's okay to marginalize you, it's okay to discriminate against you, it's okay to treat you less than human, it's okay to do human rights violations to you as black people. It's okay because the system has let them know that. See, the reason why this keeps happening is because when you look at your TV and you see George Floyd being murdered in real time, and now you look at the trial, and then you're looking at them trying to criminalize George Floyd when George Floyd was the victim. Understand? That's just what this system, done. Okay. When you look at what happened to Dante Wright and another state-sanctioned genocide, which is a human rights violation. How dare this country try to tell any other nation about human rights violations when we watching human rights violations happen to Black Americans every doggone week, every month, every year. It's always somebody being mowed down by your race soldiers that's committing state-sanctioned genocide. What do you mean by state-sanctioned genocide? The states, the government, local, federal, etc., gives them the permission, sanction them to commit acts of genocide against you. They're not doing this to everybody else. They're doing it to Black people. You understand? If other groups was getting killed and treated like this, they would go back to their countries because they have a country to go back to. We don't have no country we can go to. Sure, we can get passports. Sure, we can go make applications in different, even African countries. Let's call that what it is. I'm a realist. Even though I support going to the continent and doing things on the continent, reality speaking, we can't just show up to the continent either and say, hey, we here, we the lost children of Africa, we back home. We can't just do that because some of them are jealous, and some of them, not all, some of them not too keen of us coming there either. Because from what I've heard, they got more advantage when they come in. And I'm not saying all say that, so don't go there. I'm just talking about what's reality. You got to go find a home wherever you will go. Not to say you couldn't get into the continent, not saying that. People do it all the time. Amun-Ra wasn't a citizen of Kenya, and he stayed there to the day he died. So if you really want to go, you can go. But what I'm saying is this whole world teach everyone based on this white supremacist system that originated with the British to hate Black folk. You have no value. Africa has no value. The Caribbean has no value because you're there on it. So why do you think they kids constantly do that? When you constantly teaching them Black people's life have no value to you. No matter what side of the aisle they on, Black people's life have no value. You can't say, well, it's the Republicans or no, because now you got Democrats in office. So what's up now? Joe Biden don't want qualified immunity gone. He said that more than once, showing that your life have no value. Only time Black folks get respect unless they go out in the street and cause $1 billion worth of damage or more. That's the only time they want to start respecting Black people. Why I got to get to that point where you losing $1 billion worth of damage? This is why this keep going on. And the schools saying that cyberbullying and harassment, that's encouraging them to do it. Because I guarantee you they did this to an Asian person. Oh, it wouldn't have been considered cyberbullying. Hell no. There'd have been a hate crime. They probably would have got arrested. But the Black people, it's normal. It's carry on. It's no big deal. It's just boys being boys. That's just what they do. This is why I'm a firm believer of us having our own schools, Black people. This is why. Because you can say whatever you want to say. You just need to remove yourself from evil. That's just it. When we are in schools and we have teachers and administrators and everybody look like us, we ain't got to worry about that because that's not around us. What's so hard to figure that part out? Some of you, well, not everybody's that way. It's like Muhammad Ali said in that interview. Never forget that. He said if you got 1,000 snakes coming at you, but 100 of them were good. He said one of them, they would never bite you. They'd never do nothing wrong. He said, you going to let all the snakes in because the 100 that's good, or you going to close the door and let none of them in? I mean, that's where we at as Black folk. Why can't you sit up here and figure out that we have to have our own schools? Because as long as you go to those schools controlled by them, that have a system of white supremacy that teach the hatred of you is normal and it's the culture of America, and anybody that comes into this country assimilates into American culture, which is anti-black racism. This is why other groups could come here with just, hey, I just want to come here. Then all of a sudden now they're against you because they've been assimilated into America, which the culture is anti-black racism. And they're also incentivized to treat us that way as well. You know, this story, like I said, is sick. It's, of course, you know, this is what normally goes on, you know, in this country. We got to call this mess out. You can call this one school district out, but it's going to be the next school district tomorrow, and another one in this state, and another one in that town. We have a wicked, evil system from the pit of hell called white supremacy. That's why no matter where you go, it's everywhere. No matter what institution you look at, it's permeated with white supremacy. January 6th, when you look at the Capitol, you had people from all walks of life in that coup. That was an example of how deep white supremacy is, and a lot of black folks just didn't realize how deep it was. But now a lot of you found that out. Of course, they're trying to keep that January the 6th quiet. They act like it didn't happen. It's like, ooh, it's everything else going on except that. But black folks, if COVID didn't teach you nothing else, it taught you to start educating your children. If you don't have a place for your children to go to school, I know it's hard as parents to do this, but try to see if you can get them homeschooled. And you can hire a teacher if you can. Make the sacrifice as parents. I'd rather make the sacrifice as a parent than to leave my child subjected to white supremacy. I'm sorry, I just can't do it. Like I said, as a parent, I don't want my child indoctrinated or being heard knowing that she's black and she's less than. That's just not gonna happen. But leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about this particular story. Like I say, it's very, very sick. It's wicked, but this is what we're dealing with in this wicked land called Babylon.